welcome to Cultivating Keepsakes. I'm Eden, and I'm so glad you're here. Today we're going to make a patriotic flag holder. I used this 4x4 piece of wood and drilled a hole right in the center. Then I used my frog tape to tape off where I wanted the blue to end, because I'm going to be painting it. I used Waverly's Ocean chalk paint to paint the top, and I just painted all over, but I wasn't super careful about making sure I got every piece because in the end I'm going to distress it anyway, and I wanted it to look pretty rustic. Also, this color I know looks a little off for patriotic crafts, but it will come together in the end, I promise. And I just used my paintbrush until I got closer to the tape line, and then I used my little makeup sponges. They work really great for doing the paint right next to the tape so that it doesn't bleed or leak. And I just went around and continued doing that the whole way, and then pulled the tape off. You're going to want to pull the tape off while it's still wet. If you pull it off when it's dry, you risk pulling off some of your paint and your lines not being as good. So I just pulled it off, and then once I got the tape off, I used my heat gun to dry the whole thing. I didn't really think you needed to see all that, so skipped it for you. And somehow I was not recording when I painted the white stripes on, but I just took Dixie Belle's fluff paint and did white stripes, and I did not worry about them being straight or spaced, or because again I want this project to be rustic. And then I used my shabby chic paint in the color Red Barn to paint red stripes all around the 4x4 as well, in between the white stripes. This paint is discontinued, I think, but you can use any red paint. It doesn't really matter. You could even use acrylic paint if you wanted here. And I just went apparently very slowly around and painted my stripes with that red. And here you see my kitty Chaos. I told you eventually you'd meet him because he thinks he needs to be with me 24/7. And then once I had it all painted and dried, I took my little gator sander and I sanded and distressed, especially along the edges up at the top. I did end up moving Kitty so that he didn't get, all the sanding stuff in his face. Then for the bottom, I used a nail file. That way I could avoid getting pink into my white as much as possible, because when you sand the red, it kind of gets into the white if you do it together. I did get a little bit, but it didn't matter because the dark wax covered it. So that's the next step. I took my Chalktique dark wax and I went around the entire thing and then wiped it back with a baby wipe. You can use any dark wax here. It doesn't have to be the Chalktique, whichever one you have on hand. And then I had cut these stars out with my Cricut and placed them all around the blue. I will say it was a giant pain because they did not want to stick to the dark wax, but I did eventually get them on there. And when I was finished with my project, I used DIY's liquid patina and crystal clear chandelier to seal it, and sealed those stars on so they stopped, trying to come off. And I'll show you that in just a second in case you want some of that, but you can use any sealer really. That's what I had on hand. And then I got this post cap, or I don't know, piece of a bed or furniture from a free wood lot that I picked up. And I just loved the chippiness and the rusticness of it, so I didn't do anything to it except clean it. And then I used my liquid nails and went around all the bottom, and then I just placed it into the hole that we had drilled at the top. And I drilled a hole in the top of the post as well to fit my little flagpole. And I just love this so much, but I wasn't finished yet. I decided that it needed a bow. So I took my jute that I got from Dollar Tree and I went all around where the blue met the stripes, and then I tied it in a knot, And I didn't cut the ends off after I tied it in the knot because I'm going to make a kind of loopy bow with it to put on there, and I did it so it would look like 3 bows. It's kind of hard to explain. And I wanted it to have 3 sets of tails. So I looped it around my fingers 3 times, and then I tied it off in the center, and I left the tied off pieces long as well, so that would also be a set of tails. And then I just used my hot glue to attach that to the 4x4. And then I did go and put a little bit of hot glue on the sides where the twine was touching. That way it would hold up good, just in case, because I wasn't sure with the weight of the bow if it would cause problems or start to sag. Anyways, I get that on there, and then for my final thing, I just used an old rusty star that I had ordered from Amazon and placed that in the center of my bow, and then that was it. It was done, and I really do love this project. I hope you guys love it too. If you try something like it, I'd love to see it. Also curious what else you all would do if you found a piece like this. You'll have to let me know down in the comments. But I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!